Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it's NMeade here, and welcome for the third iteration of the analyzing and reacting to all the current world records in Mario Kart Wii. We did this in 2020, in 2021, and now we're due for 2022. So, get some hydration or a nice warm beverage, some snacks, maybe eat your lunch in your lunch break and watch this in parts, because this is going to be literally like 2 hours long, just as all the others have been very, very long. So, if you haven't watched this game at a high level before, let's say you were a casual player when you were young and you stumble upon this video, you're in for a real treat. All these records are awesome, and we kind of just chat about the records, improvements and stuff, and maybe forecast, if I think they're going to be improved or not in the following year. I've also included the current worldwide top 10s as of January 1st, 2022. All these records here in this video today are the current world records as of January 1st, 2022. So, with all that in mind, enjoy. We had the first world record, of course, on Luigi Circuit, none other than Cole himself, 108.774, and this was not improved in the past year, but I'm gonna be a bit more aggressive with my predictions this year. This will see the end of Cole's reign this year. It's gonna be by Casey. That is my big prediction here. Casey almost did it last year, I think with a 108.814, I'm pretty sure. And I think that's only, what, 40 milliseconds off of this now. So I think this will be the year that Cole's reign on this track finally ends. Entering this year, this is the current longest lasting world record reign of over 3,000 days. That's over 8 years time. So pretty crazy. It's been since what, maybe mid 2013 and onward that Cole has just come year by year grinding this down. He got the first 108 a couple years ago, I believe. And, normally Cole comes around with at least one world record improvement per year, whether on this track or Peach Beach. But last year was the first year he was actually dormant, believe it or not. So I don't think Cole will come back this year, even if provoked. I don't think so. I think this year, this will go down by Casey. But this run is wicked strong already. There's very good reason why Cole has been the undisputed champ for so long here. So 774 is very strong. I think it's going to be a lower 0.7 by the end of this year by Casey. So the current worldwide top 10, I think Casey is the main one to take down Cole's time. We will see what happens. But yeah, moving on from Luigi Circuit, we have Moo Moo Meadows on the circuit here. And it's by Sosis. He saw his name also in the Luigi Circuit worldwide top 10. And I believe this is one of his older world records that he has right now, and this record is already very strong as it is. I think this will still stand by the end of 2022. There are probably maybe 3 or 4 players that could realistically string a run together to take down this time, but Sosis still has so much more untapped potential here with different paces that he's hit and splits that he's hit as well. But he hasn't really been playing the game much these days. I don't think so anyway. So I don't think he'll improve it himself. But if Sosis were to start playing the game again this year, and in particular this track obviously, he could totally improve it for sure. I mean, he could get a 0.3 fairly easily, in my opinion. But if he doesn't return to this track in the following year, I think this will also stand again unimproved from the prior year. This track is just really hard to optimize, in particular from the ending of the low jump to the final turn, and the final turn itself is pretty much the most difficult part of the track. And the second hardest part is this right here, being the alignment out of the shroom. You're just very narrowly getting past the fence on the right and the blue ramp on the left hand side. But this run is wicked strong as it is right now. I just don't see how it's going to go down by anyone else in the following year, but we will see. As I said, there's probably at least 3 or 4 people that could realistically hit the splits for it and string it in a run, but it's so hard to do. This top 10 actually had a good amount of activity in the past year. And it's actually a little more different now in the first 2 weeks of January as well. So anything can happen. We'll see, but that's the end of Moo Moo Meadows. Gotta get some hydration here. Gotta stay hydrated, by the way, of course. So next up, of course, we got Mushroom Gorge 2320 by none other than Bryce. And I think this was the only Mushroom Gorge glitch improvement in the prior year. I think he had like a 20.6, I think. So he had a 0.2 or 0.3 improvement in the previous year. And I believe he has had some 19-second fails, believe it or not. But getting the lap count with the checkpoint here, you see how ridiculous it still looks. Like, this is still one of my favorite times to watch by far. Like, it looks so ridiculous, man. Like, I believe this was discovered, it might have been right after Grumble Volcano glitch going around the rock. But that's still so entertaining to watch, in my opinion. But look at that worldwide top 10. When I put this together for recording, I'm like, this top 10 is just insane. It's so close from like 4th to like, it's like in brackets, like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But the gap is so large. I think this won't go down in the next year, unless Bryce returns to the track. But on the no good side of things, I'm still in disbelief, to be honest, with how this has gone in particular in the past year. You know, trying to sub 141 seemed really like impossible, at least to me anyway, with the strats that are known at the time. But not only have they subbed 141, but this mad lad over here, Connor, okay, this mad lad over here, low 0.7, and this time is really, really strong for the current strats that are used. Even still, you know, he misses the mushroom skip on lap 1. You'll see what that is on laps 2 and 3, by the way, where if you pretty much land on the perimeter of the mushroom caps, you can get enough air to be propelled past the last one, thus being a mushroom skip. And I think near optimum, that will save at least 50 to 100 milliseconds per lap over doing it optimally without skipping the mushroom like you did on lap 1. But yeah, I mean, I've been wildly wrong with my predictions here in the years past, so to be honest, I don't know what's going to happen in this coming year, but this time is also really cool and a lot of fun to watch. Going in between those mushroom stalks is a lot of fun. You can get pretty consistent at that if you know what you're doing. But already this track is really optimized for a game. The small little chain wheelie right here can kind of matter. But apart from that, this is really just optimizing low air off of drifting on these mushroom caps over here. Getting really good mushroom skips over here, and then really good shortcuts. But either way, this is an awesome time. I think this will not go down in 2022. We'll see. It's traded hands between Luke, Daniel, and Connor himself. But the current worldwide top 10 as it stands, we have 4 140s on the worldwide top 10. No, 5. Sorry, we got 5 of the top 10 as 140s. But I still think this will be standing by the end of this year. We'll see. But moving on to the last track in the Mushroom Cup, Toad's Factory. Logan holds the world record on both categories. And the past year was so incredibly fruitful for Logan, setting 30 world records in a year. Like, absolutely insane. You're going to see his name all over this video. And this was his first no glitch world record that wasn't GCN DK Mountain that he got this year for the first time. And Luke's record was very strong for what it is. It's a wicked time. It's still a second worldwide here. I don't know if it was Ben or someone else who they did like a quote unquote like human strategy task for like an upper limit, and they got like a 148.7 or something, but I think it uses like a different shroom strategy just to take advantage of like the stomper cycles and stuff like that. I don't know how 148 will happen humanly, but I mean, the splits do give it now as far as I'm aware, so we'll see. But this run is already awesome. You're gonna see when you watch older world records of this track to the current one, it's about optimizing these shroomless cuts, optimizing this low jump, and getting all the chain moves. If you've never watched runs of this game ever before, obviously it's Mario Bike Wii, pretty much. My bikes are the meta, apart from Rainbow Road No Glitch. You see that a little bit later on. But getting a chain wheelie is a 1 frame timing and a 60 FPS video game, very hard to time. And if you do it on the right frame of 1 frame input, you lose the least amount of time. Every other frame that you time apart from the perfect frame, you're incrementally losing more and more time. So you're going to see chains are going to be littered all over different tracks that have long straights like that are over 3 seconds long. And this track is no exception here. So getting all the chains, all the perfect low jumps, and also the perfect shoeless cuts. I think this will be improved by Logan this year. I'm going to call it right now. I think he's going to try to push it a little bit further. He certainly can. This top 10 had so much activity in the past year. It was awesome watching everything unfold here. I think other people might come a little bit close, but I think Logan will improve one more time in the coming year. So we'll see what happens. Moving on now to the glitch category. If you guys have never watched this before, this one is insane. So you can actually use the mushroom and clip off of the boxes. They're actually breakable boxes and online, but they're solid crates in time trial. But you can still do this strat in either online or time trial. So check this out. You turn around a moving object, true, boom. Like that's one of the coolest things to see in the entire game. Like I'm still just, this is one of my favorite times to watch by far. And so as you can see, he burned 2 mushrooms in the beginning. That's because as you notice, the crates, they're moving objects. So that's crazy in and of itself. However, that means that this strategy is a cycle-based strategy. And unfortunately right now, we cannot do this all 3 laps because of the cycle that the crates are on. I believe tasks can do that though. They can go super fast, faster than we can. And they can do it all 3 laps. But different objects in this game have different types of collision. And basically that means you can do, either high clips off of them, or you can't get any clip or airtime at all off of them. So the properties of the crate are a little bit different than the properties of, let's say, the fence over here that's running the sides over here. I tried theorizing myself here and there with some other people, but I believe the type of collision on the fence is not collision where you can actually propel yourself high enough and far enough with it. So right now we're pretty much just pitted by the cycles here, so that's why it's only 2 for 3, and you burn the mushrooms on lap 1 to meet the crate on lap 1. Logan has said that a 143 can happen here. Funnily enough, this time right now, it's only 7 milliseconds off the best known splits, believe it or not, because your pace slots until once you land a cut from lap 2. So once you land a cut from lap 2 to the end, it's just optimizing that, but we'll see. I think Logan will still try to push this down during 2022. That's my bold prediction here. But that wraps off the Mushroom Cup. Heading now into the Flower Cup. We have Mario Circuit. We have the No Glitch going first with Guy 120.357. And this was such an epic improvement this year. As you're going to see, there's a little mini ramp by the Chain Chomp. And they do what's called the King Alex low ramp. Where basically, it was King Alex that found it. Thus the name. If you land at the very tip of the ramp, you get such a fast trick where you're basically able to rappel through the sand and the grass and save a lot of time per lap. It may look simple, but oh man, is it really hard to do and to optimize. In the past, they've done like a second tier way of doing the ramp where they actually land like at the base of the ramp and get really high airtime and land like into the road. But that is just so hard to do, and this is the first world record that gets it all 3 laps, and he improved the world record by over half a second. Unheard of on this category. So this can still be improved. This will definitely go down in 2022, in my opinion. I think Casey is going to take this from Guy, and maybe we'll have a battle between Guy and Casey here. Casey wants a 119 here this year, and I believe that he will definitely get that. It seemed like this kind of crushed a category after Guy got it, but actually not so long after Guy set this time. I think Casey got his 120.4, and I think Casey only gets the King Alex ramp 2 out of 3 laps. And getting the King Alex ramp will save, I think, 0.2 or more a lap, even compared to like the second tier ramp trick you can actually get. So we'll see what happens here. I definitely foresee a battle happening here. It's going to be between Guy and Casey, more than likely. We will see. But yeah, heading now into the glitch category of things, we're going to have Logan. He's going to have a 47.715. And I believe, I'm trying to think. I think Dez reclaimed the world record. And then Logan claimed it back and he got the first sub 48. There's been so many world records this past year. I actually do a monthly world record recap series on the channel. You guys can check that out down below. But yeah, Logan just came back into this track so quickly and got this massive sub with this epic strategy, by the way, of lap 1, where getting the clip off the tree, going to the finish line pole banner, going down like in between the track is nuts. It's nuts. I assume this is probably a simulation overload for a lot of you guys who have never seen this game played at a higher tier ever before in your life. And this track is no exception for this category here. This run is already very strong for the strats that are used. Again, a lot of these things kind of like a pretty basic, just line up a tree and go and trim or whatever, but there's so much nuance behind everything that this is a really strong time. Will this go down in 2022? It depends. I don't think Logan will try without being provoked. Justice not playing this track. So I think if Dez comes back, then maybe Logan will play some more. So we'll see. If Dez plays the game this year, we might see an improvement here. That's kind of my prediction here for the moment. Coconut Mall, no glitch. Breakson has the world record in both categories here. And this track, this category will be improved this year. There's been a lot of movement on the worldwide top 10 here this year. A lot of people getting their first 155s here. That seemed like such a huge elusive time a couple of years ago, and rightfully so it is. And Ace got up by such a large margin. I think it was 2018, I think is when he beat Infi at the time. And I think it's 4 or 5 people in total right now who have 155s. And so Breakson, Justin, and Logan are all within less than 0.1 of each other on this track. And I think right now both Logan and Breakson are playing this. Justin rolled up with a random improvement a couple weeks ago, I think, with like a mid 0.6. And this track is crazy on the no-glitch side of things. A very small detail, but Breakson is actually doing 2 drifts here. So he drifts for the low trick and counter drifts quickly thereafter to get a quick alignment with the wheelie right after. If you kind of go through this video frame by frame, when you're doing a drift left or right, like tiny little like white sparks are going off when you're drifting, and you can actually see he actually does 2 different drifts. So a right drift and a left, a right drift and a left. And this is such a hard track to play at this high level and optimize everything, especially if you're on a Wiimote and Nunchuck, because that's motion based when you're like articulating your hand with trying to get the proper trick out. And obviously GameCube D-pad things and classic D-pad things can, you know, you can press right but get up or down. It happens, myself included. But yeah, this track still has a good ways to go, but this is already such a strong time as it is. But I think we're going to see some battles here in the year to come for 2022 on this track for the no-glitch side. So again, we'll see. As you're going to see in the worldwide top 10 now, a lot of new faces here, a lot of improvements in the past year. Let's see how much we have here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so we already have 5 155s here. A lot of people have a lot of potential here to do big things on this track. So might be a couple contenders here. We'll see. But that's the no-glitch side of things. This will go undefeated again in 2022 and probably for a couple more years for sure. I'm going to say that right now. This is such a stupidly strong time, in my opinion. Breakson is ahead by almost a full second to second worldwide. And Brakeson has no reason to play it again himself, and no one else is really actively trying this as far as I'm aware. This is really optimized for strategies that are used. I just don't see how this is actually going to go down for at least 1 to 3 more years, or more to come for all we know. Brakeson really put this into a pulp when he played this a couple of years ago. Like, I think he's maybe, what, 0.1 or 0.2 off the best known splits right now. Pretty much is optimizing your entry here and then your parking lot driving. Basically, when you spin drift off the wall, you're getting the checkpoints to make sense, to make sure your lap counts. But yeah, like, look at this. Like, I don't think that's going to go down for at least 1 to 3 or more years. If Brakeson doesn't try it himself, I don't think anyone else is actually going to contend here for a little while. DK Summit by Blake, no less. 145-210. Blake has been overdue for like the biggest monster improvement of all time on this track for years now. He came back, I think it was what, late 2019, 2020, around there. And that was an epic return. He's one of the OGs in the community. He's been around since 2008 like me. And he came out to the game after many years of being out of the scene. And he beat Connor to get the world record back. And the best known splits right now that that Blake has is like a 143.7 something, I believe. Now this track is just APM times 1,000 after you land from the cannon here. This is one of the most tech heavy tracks in the game, very difficult to optimize, and you're going to see from how jarring the worldwide top 10 is with the gap on this track in particular. But yeah, you're going to see all these mogul tricks over here, and then look at this. This is called the Jimmy Cut, where you basically just spin, drift, hop, and you maintain all that momentum into the second chasm and land that. And what's unfortunate is with a lot of Blake's paces now is he's kind of pace locked by the Shy Guys unless he gets past them on like a really fast pace. But like you could get like a semi-fast pace and get like a monster like 34.6 lap 3 or something crazy like that, and clutch an insane improvement here. So we'll see. I think this is the year 2022 is the year that Blake finally gets his 144 that he deserves. But I will say I will not be surprised at all. I said it in my most recent world record review video that I wouldn't be surprised at all if he jumped right directly from this to either a very low 144 or even a 143. It wouldn't surprise me at all, just from how volatile of a track that this is. So we'll see. Let's look at how much of a gap that is for a no-glitch track. Like over 2 seconds of gap, like that's insane. So we'll see. Connor hasn't played this track in a very long time. I don't think he's going to try anymore in the coming years, I don't think. So this is Blake's wheelhouse, so we'll see what happens here. Another track that will not go down this year is going to be this one here. Vincent's Wario's Gold Mine No Glitch, one of my favorite tracks. This is a stupidly, absurdly strong time for the strategies that are used. There are a couple strategies that the TAS has used, like getting an extra slip drift into the ending section, which I'll point out later on, that may save maybe like 50 milliseconds a lap, perhaps. But apart from that, I don't see this going down at all unless there's some new major strategies that are discovered here for this category. You can actually get a slip drift right here and get an empty charge right before this boost panel over here. That's what the TAS does. And it's very hard to do, obviously, but it may save around maybe 50 milliseconds left from what I remember reading about, but I could be wrong on that, maybe plus or minus a couple milliseconds. But this run is just so strong. And I don't think Luke has played this for a while, and you know, apart from Luke being 0.1 off of his former world record here, I think third worldwide to the rest of the pack are in the 0.8 territory, which you might think, you know, 0.250, 0.300, that's not like that much, but it's actually a lot for this track. There are a lot of very tiny optimizations that will kind of take too long to kind of rattle off, you know, right on the fly right now, but just take my word that this is a very, very strong time, and there's a reason why it stood for I think it's been over 2 years now that stood for. I think it was maybe April 2019, around there. Actually, maybe March 2019, now that I think about it. Because both Vincent and Luke went back and forth on this a couple of times. But yeah, if Vincent doesn't play this track himself and there's no new strategies discovered and implemented, this will stand for at least another year. Easily. So we'll see. But there's been a lot of improvement, though, on this Worldwide Top 10 in particular this year. It took forever for the top 10 to have all 150s, which now it does. I think actually this year is the year past 2021, I mean, where we all have all 150s here now. Very, very hard time to get in of itself, but mid 150, very, very hard to do. So we'll see what happens in the coming year for this category. Moving on now to the glitch category. 31882 by Logan. And I think this year, Logan reclaimed it from McRaren, and then he got the first sub 32 here. This track is going to have a lot of activity in this coming year, in my opinion. What's very exciting is I believe he's third worldwide. A Spanish player named Hoyo. Hoyo was the very first person to do this pipe bounce 3 for 3 in a world record. It was like a 35.4 or something in 2009. That'll be the most epic, full story, full circle to happen in this game. Apart from McRaren doing that of a 10-year cycle himself, Japanese player. So Poyo came back and he's only 40 milliseconds off. I can't believe that. There are actually a couple of people that could contend this time, including Logan himself, for improving it. But I think this year we're gonna see epicness in 2022. I think Poyo will make his 11 plus year return on this track, reclaim it at least once. I'm rooting for you. We'll see. But yeah, that concludes the Flower Cup. On to the Star Cup, we have Daisy Circuit 128.425 by Luke. And this will also not go down this next year, maybe for 2 or more years, I think. This is a really good time. I don't see anyone beating this apart from Luke himself for quite a while. This is a very, very good 2 for 3 stair dive run. Stair dive basically is what happened right there, where you hop and you land on the lip where you go outside the balcony area, and you get propelled down and forward at the same time, thus being a stair dive diving down. And that saves a dumb amount of time every lap. Compared to not getting any hop low trick at all, I think it's literally 300 or more milliseconds per lap. I don't think this is frame perfect for a stair dive. Correct me if I'm wrong, Tazers, in the comments. It might be a 1 frame. Well, it kind of depends on your position entering the staircase and everything. But even still, he gets the stair dives on laps 1 and 3, and the racing is superb. So a couple of people have 0.7s and 0.8s, but it's 2 different rolls away from where Luke is right now. Obviously, a 3 for 3 stair dive run will yield around a 128.2 or a 0.1 with very optimal driving. But I just don't see that happening for quite a while unless Luke plays himself. We'll see. But this is actually one of my favorite no glitch categories to watch, believe it or not. I prefer Funky Kong on this track. A lot of you guys know, but I can appreciate how epic of a time this is, obviously. So I think this won't go down for the following year, but I'd like to be proven wrong. We'll see. I think 2 people have 0.7s, Firestone and Logan. Yes. So only 6 people have gotten their 128 so far. So we'll see what happens here in the coming year. But coming up, we have some awesome activity that happened here on Koopa Cape for both categories. No glitch. We got Luke here. Again, 217.937. The past year, we saw the first Wii Wheel no glitch world record with literally the Wii Wheel, the plastic thingy where you turn back and forth, you know. That was the first world record for no glitch from 2012, I think. It actually happened on this track. So shout outs to Japanese Wii Wheeler Keiji. He got the world record here with a 220.4, I think. Literally back in 2012 or 2013. And case you guys don't know, the Wii wheel is literal motion controls for everything. So if you're in the wheelie and you like turn ever so slightly left or right, you're doing minor wheelie turns. This is a lot of time. So using a Wii wheel is very difficult, let alone supreme no glitch driving. Okay, so Jung Woo is a South Korean player. It was the first Korean world record for the game's history and the first no glitch Wii wheel world record in pretty much almost 10 years. So he beat Luke's time, and then Luke got this time a couple of months after. And this track is very hard. There's a lot of strategies that are unused currently that are just super hard to do in real time, but they'll happen in due time, obviously. And the potential here is actually quite large. So I think Luke said if you use all the strats that are unused right now for all 3 laps and optimizing all of them, you can really get like a mid to low 216 here. And we're barely at a low 217.9. So we'll see what happens here. This is a very difficult track. The shroom was cut by the grass here, which you'll see again on lap 3. It's pretty much almost like pure luck. It's like human RNG, pretty much. And so you can have such awesome paces up to lap 3 and do this maneuver here, and you get no air at all. Or you get air, but not enough air, and where you lose too much time in the grass going to the water stream again. So a lot of different nuances on this track in particular, where it makes completing runs very, very difficult to do. There are actually a lot of people here that have a lot of great potential on this track, but we're all held back by the randomness and the sheer difficulty of doing this track in one try. So we'll see. I think this track will be improved a couple of times for this category in the coming year, maybe by Luke and Jung Woo themselves. We'll see. Both have been playing, so to be determined, of course. But again, you know, this worldwide top 10, honestly, every single person here at their optimum could get a really crazy time if they try playing the track again. So we'll see what this year brings. That's the rent. I've been talking for a long time. This is the end of the no glitch. Now we're on to the glitch category, newly as of this year. I still cannot believe this is actually a thing. Check this out. I'm just gonna let it play for its brilliance as I set on some water and rehydrate. And inside the track, on the seam, inside the blocks, get far enough over here. We're going to slowly turn around on the seam, not falling off. Very minor analog going back to the left over here. Stand still. Alignment, shroom, off, second shroom, into the last key checkpoint, respawn, finish line, lap count. Yes. This is one of the most craziest developments, like, I think, of the entire game's history, in my opinion. The fact that that is even possible. Remember on Toad's Factory where I was talking about different objects having different types of collision? I forget who it was. If you go back, I believe Justin did this humanly in February 2021, I believe, in the World Record Review series that I have. I think I included an image from the testers where literally they found that the little blocks where the pole goes down in between the blocks, that has a different type of collision where it allows you to shroom, get that little bounce, and land on the seam inside the blocks. You go far forward to get to where the checkpoints will make sense, where if you turn around and do the whole maneuver, the lap will actually count. Hands down, like probably the most craziest things you'll ever see done in this game. So Justin was the first one to do it very, very quickly after this was discovered. And then Logan was the second person to ever pull this off in real time. And this was Logan's 30th world record that he did in 2021. So quite an epic record to do, to complete 30 world records in the year. So hats off to you, Logan, for every accomplished this man. But yes, will this go down in 2022? I don't see any reason why it would, honestly. I believe Breakson did grind this out for a good period of time, right when this was discovered, along with Core, I believe. But I don't think anyone's actively trying this, and this is just so insanely difficult. I don't think Logan has any reason to do it himself. Justin probably won't do it, so we'll see what happens here. I think this will stand for a good amount of time until either Logan or Justin, maybe someone new, comes to the scene here. We'll see. Hydration break. Okay. My favorite track, no bias obviously, Maple Treeway. The no-glitch category by Demon himself. Demon, I think, is in the same category as Blake, with being so long overdue with a massive improvement with their grinds for so long now. Demon grind this track for forever now. And this category, it features the turn skip, which is a very hard maneuver to do. And I believe this run it does a 3 for 3, but this can be improved to like a 212 or like a 210 at optimum if you have shroomless turn skips, which are a thing, by the way. But really, really hard to do, obviously. So Demon has had so many paces, so many laps, and this track is insanely cruel to play with all these strats in mind here. This should be improved this year by Demon. I think, along with Blake, both of them will have their massive, rightfully so, improvements on their respective tracks in 2022. I'll go as far as to say, if Demon gets a clean 3 for 3, which he deserves after so long now, he might just jump right to a high 212. I'm just going to say it here right now. You see almost a 2-second cut right away. Sounds crazy, but it's very realistic here. I believe Demon's best splits, they give a mid 211 or like a low 211, and that's just with the shroom turn skip. He has dabbled a little bit with the shroomless turn skip as well, which saves even more time, because if you do that turn skip shroomless, you can use the shroom as normal for the cut at the beginning of the lap and save even more time. So we'll see what happens here. But just like DK Summit, the worldwide top 10 gap here is pretty jarring. I believe I believe it's Demon, Abalash,
Not Kisaragi. I think it's
Demon, Abalash, Justin. Those are the 3 people that have turn skips in their time, I think. Just 1 for 3. I want to get a 215 myself here without the turn skip this year as a goal that I have. You'll see my name here on this chart. And I want to eventually contend and maybe reclaim the world record here myself. I want to learn a turn skip, maybe give a Demon run for his money this year. This might be the year that I finally sit down and get it done. We'll see. But that's it for this category of Maple Treeway. We had the no glitch category, which had a massive rehaul this year. The Benny strat was done 3 for 3, which enables you to use 1 mushroom per lap to get a 3 for 3 glitch run here. Entering 2021, okay, Justin had a 145.448, I think, with using 2 for 3, with doing the 1 shimmer tree root clip and older strategy, which is very, very hard to do. Your standstill MT, your turning, streaming blind is a whole thing. But now we're entering this year with a 134.999. This category was improved by over 10 seconds officially. And with just this right now, this can still go down to almost a 129, Dez and Demon have said. Now, the true optimal way is to do the tree root clip, because it's still a faster clip as opposed to that giant long setup for the Benny strat where you're stuck in between the track and you get ejected from the track at this speed and you get the bounce and the airtime, all type of good stuff. Before this year, this will get at least 1 improvement, I see, in my crystal ball things. I think it'll be by Dez himself. And there's a strategy Dez is going for into the cannon here, where he's hitting the fence as he enters the cannon at the same time. And if you do it at the right time, you actually exit the cannon a lot lower and a lot sooner as opposed to flying all the way forward. It's called the low cannon, and that saves you even more time per lap. And you got none of those all 3 laps. So there's so much more potential to be had here in this category of Maple Treeway. I think at least one new improvement will happen in the coming year, but this was one of my favorite, it's my favorite track obviously, but one of my favorite storylines to follow this entire year was J. Cole getting the world record here, the first 3 for 3, the first sub 140 here, now the first sub 135 with a 999. Awesome stuff here all around. So, this is another epic story of 2021. This man right here, Jiren, is younger than the game itself. First time in the history of the game where a player who is younger than the game got a world record. And Niyaki was the Titan for over 10 plus years here, and he is toppled once more now by Australian player Jiren. I think we're going to have a battle on the rock, no pun intended, pun intended a lot by the way, this year between both Jiren and Niyaki here. Who will come out victorious on top? To be determined, we'll see. But I think it'll be around a 15.5 to end this year. It's going to be very exciting. We'll see what happens here. But also on this track, on the no glitch side of things, we have 151.384 by Barney on the no glitch, no shortcut category. And this was an awesome development this year. So now, instead of the normal shroom, they're doing the task shroom strat 3 for 3, which you'll see a little bit later. This track is so underrated for how difficult it is, in my opinion. I'm biased, it's one of my worst tracks by far, but these low mini orange ramps here are so hard to optimize the low jumps off of them. And if you miss them, you're literally losing 0.1 or a lot more per one ramp every single lap. So the strategy is this: low jump here, airtime, shroom, spin drift, hop trick, like that, and then low jump up right before the finish line. So Barney actually missed that low trick I was talking about into the lap 2, and he lost probably at least 150 easily on that. He had so much hang time on that from not getting the low jump there. Barney wants a 150 long term here for what he said. He's currently taking a break right now, and rightfully so. This is such a hard track to optimize, and I'm just happy though that Barney went full send mode and just gunned for a 3 for 3 time here. This strategy makes this track a lot more reset heavy than it already is. But it's always cool to see people, you know, they're taking advantage of the new unused strategies and it's really pushing the limits for the new standard. That's honestly the only way that further progress is had, you know, in our game, let alone other speed games, in my opinion. There can be unused strategies for a long period of time that people might think is either impossible or way too impractical to go for, but it just takes a first person to do it, and then before you know it, the whole leaderboard is doing it as like a standard practice in these runs pretty much, with this being included. So we'll see. I think Barney will improve this year, but I'm rooting for both Paul and Logan as two contenders here to contend Barney on this track in 2022. We will see, because after the first of this year, Paul got a 151.05 and is currently second worldwide right now. So we might see some battles here. It would be a lot of fun to see that. To be determined, of course. Entering the Special Cup. Dry Ruins. The first 146 was done by Justin, which happened in the past year. And Justin is a mad lad. Like, he improvises and adds so many different strategies with all these different tracks that he tends to play sporadically. Justin's activity for real-time time trials has been pretty, you know, reduced for the most part in the past year or so. He's been busy at work doing a lot of like tasks and stuff in the game and still trying to discover new strategies, breaking tracks, usual Justin stuff, obviously. And when Justin got the world record here for the first time in the past year, his recovery lap 3 was so epic, just so insane. But the past like year and a half, I was actually very surprised. So Luke took it upon himself to actually introduce some new strategies on this track. most notably being the tomb exit, where you hop in the boost panel, do a wheelie where you kind of lunge forward very fast, and that gains a lot of time. You can actually do the shroomless cut on laps 1 and 3 now. So I think Luke's former record only did it on 1 lap, and Justin does it on all 3 laps in his runs now. Along with the newer, I guess, like wheelie once and then like do like the Toad's Factory input for 1 drift for the sand hop in the beginning of the lap as well, when you go around for that. He misses this trick right here. I know that must be so disappointing for him because that loses at least 0.2, if not 0.3 at least. But this epic backup here on the right side, it looks so cool, man. It's crazy. I love this track at baseline, but watching this is just so cool. We'll see improve in 2022. I think if Justin tries to play some more real-time time trials this year, he might try to improve this. I think he wants a little bit more from what I remember him telling me about when he set this time last year. So we'll see. Apart from that, Luke can definitely contend as well, but this is a very hard track to do with all these strats being done now. So we'll see. Hydration break. Gotta stay hydrated. So this track will get his first 142, in my opinion, this year. I think this year, if I got the timeline right, I think Breakson got the world record for the first time here this year, and then Luke got it back with a lower 0.0. I think Breakson had like a 0.86, I want to say, and now Luke has a 0.35. Luke had a couple of paces that were definitely 142 into lap 3, including one that I included. What month was it? I'm going to check it right now, actually, live in the recording here. Let's see. This was, yeah, it was March 2021. So go to the March 2021 world record review, and I include a fail that Luke had where it was corrected in Dolphin Emulator with actually getting the boost panel before the final turn. And it was like a mid 142.9. It was crazy. The biggest problem with this track for so long now has been being pace locked by the cars, both for manual drift and also automatic drift. If cars were no issue here, like let's say there's an open highway, all 3 laps, I'm pretty sure Spear Auto would be the fastest combo here. But all these different car cycles make that pretty much impossible. But what we're going to see over here is after entering the zipper section here in lap 3, it's going this giant milk truck here that blocks the entire way. This one right over here. So you can't do that counter drift MT and then that blue car as well as the other little kryptonite of the track. But you can still feasibly get a 142.9. It's been very due for a very long time now. There are so many people in the player base that are really good at this track, but they're all pace locked by the cars, and it's very hard to optimize from like a 0.3 downward in particular. And you're going to see on this worldwide top 10 now, 10th is 313, but there's at least, I think, 20 people beyond this 10 here that have like mid to high 0.3s. There are a lot of really good players here. So I think this will be the year of the 142. It'll be by Luke, but we'll see if other people want to contend. We'll see. This was one of the most hype records of 2021. Zeke peeped the Attack on Titan display, by the way. Zeke makes his epic return to this track, and I couldn't be more happy. Very soon, the next coming weeks in particular, the bounty video is finally releasing for Zeke's time. I do a series called the Most Iconic World Record Series, where I review different world records of the past that are the most iconic for their own reasons, with this being a very special edition for this track being done. There's so much backstory behind Zeke's previous record here. He got like this massive fail that was like a 219 fail. It was one of the most worst fails I've ever seen of all time. It was a double best known split pace. And Zeke seemingly disappeared and went away, but he came back like 2 years later And he was inspired by the video bounty that I put out where I said in this reaction series last year, whoever were to beat Zeke's time, I would make a video on it. Just from how much they're surrounding Zeke's time. And Zeke comes back to the game and beats his own time. And Zeke has wonderful English. He's a Japanese player. And he already provided such awesome feedback for when he improved this. I believe it was in May of 2021. It's gonna be even more like discussion of like the whole backstory of everything with not only his time and his history with the track, but a lot of like the questionable past of the world record history here with some people that were eventually caught cheating in time trials, in particular those who have former records on this track, which makes the history of this track a little bit arduous, you could come to say. But this is one of the most tech-heavy tracks by far in the whole game. It is so hard to optimize. And this year, I think Zeke will come back at least once and try to improve some more. He had, I think, 1 or 2 more fails during 2021 on his Twitter that I saw. But this can definitely go to at least a mid 219 with all of Zeke's playing. But there are a couple of contenders that can also best Zeke's time. I think if Beat, Sean, and Jared were to all play very actively this year, all 3 could very well take down this current time. But a very hard task to do. We will see. But this is one of my most favorite world records that was ever set in the game, let alone it being done in 2021 by himself. So we'll see what happens in the coming year. We will see. But speaking of Jared, he holds the current world record for this track on the glitch category. Almost a 208 here. And I think after Jared set this time, a little bit thereafter, I think he stopped playing the game like entirely, I think. So I don't know what the history of this track holds on necessarily. We will see. If Jared were to ever play the game again, he could definitely get like a mid 208. You're going to see there's one glaring part of this run where he had to use a mushroom where he didn't intend on using it in the run, but he still got an improvement, which is actually crazy in my opinion. But this track on this category is very hard to optimize. It's all within optimizing this shortcut here, getting like the super low ones instead of getting such huge airtime. I believe Jared doesn't get any really bad shortcuts in this run here, but you can like make the shortcut, but then you make the shortcut. So when you just make it, you can get like super high airtime and you make it, but you lose such a large amount of time by having so much airtime. But when you really make it, you get such a low airtime where you barely travel above where the collision isn't there anymore for the wall that you're bypassing with this whole strategy here. And that's like the fastest way of getting the cut here. So try this out again. Giant wheelie drift, such a low airtime, and you land very low and you're there right away back at max speed using your mushroom here. So this is where the unfortunate for Jared here, I think his wheelie input does not come out, I think. Let's see. Yeah, so I think he went for a trick on the geyser, but I think he was actually too fast where the geyser wasn't growing out enough where it actually wasn't trickable yet. So he had to use a shroom to get back to max speed right away, or else he would have been from base acceleration to wheelie speed again, which would have lost way too much time. And he still was fast enough to get an improvement here. It's actually really insane in my eyes. We'll see what this track holds this year for this category. But as an example there, that cut was absolutely crazy. Like, that's really pushing it for how low you can get that cut in any run here. But clearly there's more on the board here to be had for this category on this track. Maybe like a 208.6 or 0.7 is definitely in the cards for Jared here. We'll see. Maybe some new people can be in the mix here during the coming year to best Jared's time. But yeah, we are entering now into the
Last track of the
Special Cup, being everyone's favorite, most popular, Rainbow Road. So, both categories of this track, yes, both categories now as of this year, are very special. You see a card here. This is Mario Bike Wii, not Mario Kart Wii, contrary to popular belief. But the only world record And this set list that uses a cart is this track, no glitch. That's one big reason why that would save so much time over a bike racing here. A detail you have to understand on this track for why this does so well as opposed to a bike is because if you look at the speedometer, almost always you're in a boost of some sort all throughout the lap here. An advantage of a cart over a bike, there are some advantages believe it or not, is if you hold your drift long enough, you get those orange MTs which last a very long period of time. The thing that makes the bike so broken in this game is that the top speed of a wheelie just going unprovoked is like sometimes 10 or more kilometers per hour above the base speed of a cart going in a straight line, which loses so much time. I don't know how Nintendo just didn't see that coming at all, but it adds to the charm of the game, honestly. But this was so crazy when this turned back to a cart of all things. I think it was 2010 when Kiki got it back, a Japanese player, awesome cart player back in the day. That got the first 226 here with a cart. And pushed the meta as well. But this player right here, Japanese player Kaede, he came back to the game. He got the very first 224. I think it was actually a 224 999 or like a 990 or something like that. I think back in 2016, and then he was beaten by Bob, and then he never came back again to the game, I believe. I think he actually plays competitively for Mario Kart 8 or Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, one of those games for Rainbow Road on that game. But he came back last year and improved really rapidly back to his prior form, and he reclaimed the world record from Flair, and he's been on this mad dash literally almost every single day. This guy posts a massive fail every day on this track, and anytime he gets a new world record, he has a beer in one hand and a new world record behind him on the TV screen. Oh, it's so good, it's so good. So this was one of the coolest comeback stories of all time, to have things come full circle from the older players coming back and being successful in their endeavors. So I love seeing that all the time. So shout out to Kaede. This track will have some more improvements for sure in the coming year. I think this will be near a 224.3 with a cart in the coming year. We'll see. I think both Kaede and Flair will be battling here. Those are the two most active players right now on this track at their tier level with the times right now. The newest addition this year is Rainbow Road Glitch. I'm sure almost all of you guys, if you watch my channel, obviously you know Summoning Salt, one of my biggest inspirations for the whole video creation thing for a longer form, like video essay formats and stuff like that. He's made wonderful videos in our community with a lot of the world record scene and different glitches and shortcut histories. And this track in particular was infamous for having no human do a glitch, from how freaking hard that is to do that you guys just watched. A big reason why this was proven to be possible a lot easier, more feasibly in the past year is because of this vehicle right here. If my memory serves me right, the Quacker is a lot slower, but you get so much more airtime with it. I think that's the main thing that makes it a lot more feasible humanly compared to the Spear here. You would think to traverse that giant gap for the glitch, you want as much speed as possible, which would make sense, obviously. But I think that just made it so much harder where the Spear is a lot heavier as well. It doesn't get as much airtime as the Quacker. And so, literally right when the Quacker strats were discovered, if I have my timeline correctly, I believe it was Malio and the Tassers, they found that you can do this track, the glitch that they just did, with just one mushroom of Tass. So you can do this this track 3 laps of just one mushroom a lap to completely break this track wide open with the Tass side of things. And with that discovery, I think it was really like less than like what, 2 weeks later is when the first human, Arthur, shout out to Arthur for making history here, having the first Rainbow Road glitch of Mario Kart Wii. Like, I think that actually was on some like semi-mainstream platforms. I think like what, ESPN Sports or something. Like they tweeted that out or something like that. That's such a groundbreaking thing for the scene, honestly. And then Something Soul made a whole nother video entirely, so that was so cool to see. But Logan got this, in this record in particular, Logan got this new improvement in 3 tries. So from that giant build-up for all this time, Logan beat Arthur like 1 or 2 months later, and then he got this this improvement randomly in 3 tries, taking a break from GCN Mario Circuit time trial. So epic, insane. I don't know what this year is going to bring for this category. I don't know. Might see some more random break improvements. We'll see. But that concludes the Nitro tracks, the Retros, Shell Cup, Peach Beach, No Glitch. Casey, this was Casey's breakout year, being 2021. Casey has fallen so short on different tracks for finally getting his first world record in the game. And I thought he was going to pull through on Mario Circuit this year. This year being 2021. But it was actually on Peach Beach. He sets his first world record. He ends the year with 5 world records. It's always the case where when you get your first world record, the floodgates open, the mental block is gone, the brain fog, mental fog is just gone, self-limitations out the window. If you guys are kind of new to my channel, I was actually the former #1 time trialer of the game for a couple of years. I had my own world records in the past too. And I can say from my experience too, like the giant mental block that you have setting your very first world record is something else that's indescribable. But when you surpass that and get your first world record, you suddenly get more world records on different tracks, improve your own time, and get so much more high tier times. After Casey got this time, he blossomed so much more already as a time trialer on so many different tracks now. So I think Casey's going to get a 112.5 here this year, and he wants a 119 in Mario Circuit, and he wants to beat Cole on the Luigi Circuit. I predict all 3 will come true in 2022, along with Casey getting so many more high tier times this year. I'm very excited for what Casey will produce in 2022. But Guy is very close behind. I love how I put Hunter there, by the way. That's awesome. But yes, it's gonna be Guy. I think Guy can still contend here, obviously, for the No Glitch side of things, but we'll see what happens here. On the Glitch side now, we have Arrow, and I think Arrow got this back in 2020, I believe. And this was an awesome comeback story for Arrow as well. I don't know if Arrow has tried any more since he got this time, but the fabled sub 1 minute time on this track for the Glitch, it's been in the works for so long and has its controversy too. There was another time trialer years ago where they claimed a 59-second time, but they refused to prove the time, send the ghost at it for review. And literally they said that they sold their console and their disc. Very sketchy. So hold that in mind. It's not counted as legitimate. It's probably just like a lied time / task time, to be honest. But I think Arrow has a bad last turn and misses a full chain wheelie where it's not a 59 time.
What's the last chain here?
It is a 88. Okay, so oh man, 49 milliseconds. I think he probably would have gotten a very high 59 with a better last turn and full chain wheelie. But there is unused strategies here, like doing the other tree clip on lap 1. I think Arthur was trying for that actually during last year. Logan also sprung a second worldwide here randomly in the past year. I think 2022 is the year of finally getting a 59-second time here. By who? To be determined. We'll see. But that concludes Peach Beach. We have Yoshi Falls, this time by David, 58648. And this track still has a little bit more to go, I feel. A lot of people have been getting 58-second times here in the past year. And a lot of people have their own massive potential on this track. If David were to play the game again and time trial seriously again, he could totally get like a 0.5 at least. I think Breakson recently got back second worldwide here a couple of months ago, and he had the world record here in the past too. but I think literally 5+ people could beat David's record this year if they're to try enough and string a time together, including David, obviously. But this track is very difficult for a lot of different bounces that they may see on the zippers and stuff. You can actually literally like drift over the zipper and not hit it at all, yet you're clearly drifting right in front of it. Like this one right over here, you can drift on it, but hover over it. It makes no sense at all. So I don't know. But regardless, I think this will go down at least once in 2022. By who? I don't know. But I think this will not stand until the end of 2022. I think we'll see at least a 0.5 really insane run, like a high 0.4. We'll see. We'll see. But a lot of improvement on this top 10, and even after I create this top 10 too. Again, all these world records in this video and the worldwide top 10s are as of January 1st of 2022. And I'm recording this commentary around 2 weeks after that. So we'll see what happens in the coming year. Now in GB2 for both categories here, Sosis has a 52.775. I was so happy when Sosis got this time. He tried for a long time on this track, and his streams were very entertaining to watch when he tried grinding this time out. Unfortunately, I mentioned earlier this video too, but I think Sosis hasn't played for a better part of a year, I think, or close to it. So I don't know if he kind of stopped playing the game, if he'll come back or not. But he could definitely improve it like a little bit more. But I think this will also go down in 2022. There are several players that can get the job done. And I think this can go down to at least a low 0.7, practically, before the end of the year. There's actually a new strat where you actually get a slip drift off that corner right there where the floating blocks are. I think Justin did that strat himself in his current PB. So if someone does that new strat, they can definitely have a little bit of an advantage over Sosis here to improve the world record here. But we'll see. I think this will go down in 2022. Again, by who? I don't know. We'll see. A couple of contenders can definitely do it. Sosis himself for sure. Justin, if Blaze comes back to the game, he can as well. I'm really rooting for Steve to get his first world record in the game, by the way. His comparison versus Sosis, he was actually beating him into the third turn of lap 3, I think. So a lot of potential here by a lot of different players. We'll see what 2022 brings. This track also has some amazing activity in the past year. The first epic 50-second time done by Logan here, 49.992. Just watch this as I sip on some water. Look how crazy this is. Yeah, like so crazy. So you do a clip off the pole, land the other side, turn around, to a shimmer back behind the finish line, and you drive in reverse to hit the last key checkpoint and then lap counts. And when this was done for the first time, it was just actually crazy. I believe it was Logan himself who did this and beat Leaf's time. And shout out to Vincent N, by the way, for the past year getting his first world record overall on this track. I think Vincent N can come back and contend with Logan here. I think he's busy with college right now, but I think he can definitely contend if he were to try and play this again, for sure. But seeing the first 49 is so insane on this track. The strategy is so cool. One of my favorite glitch records to watch by far, for sure. Well, let's go down in 2022. If both Logan and Vincent were to contend, absolutely. I don't think anyone else is actively trying to compete for this category, let alone the task strategy here. So we'll see what happens here in the coming year. But now, heading on to some Raceway, one of my favorite tracks of all time. Also done by Sosis. He has the next 3 world records coming up. And Sosis did some epic improvement in this past year, in the beginning of this year, I believe. He went from like a mid 0.3 all the way down to this high 0.1. And this time is nutty. He wants to get long-term a 140 here. I believe him. He'll get the job done, in my opinion. But this time already is so impressive. I think he entered this year with like a 3.35, I think. And he improved to this 1.98 right now. And again, you know, to the outsider looking in, it's like, what, 140 milliseconds? How drastic could that be, right? It's mountains of difference at this skill level, trust me. Just the sheer amount of optimization with all these runs overall is just insanely impressive. I still can't believe the sheer caliber that all these times are at now at this point. You know, I'm one of the few players left in the player base at this point that have been around since the beginning of 2008. I saw all the improvements, all the strategies developed, and everything, and all the optimizations in between. So, some of these feats that are done by all these players are still insane to me, and I'm just so happy that this game is still thriving, alive, and well, both in the time trial scene and in the online space too. So time trials in particular, man, we're here for it. So I think this will not be beaten in 2022. If Sosos does not come back, it will stand this entire year. If Vincent were to come back and play this track, he could do it if he were to grind for a long period of time. Vincent had so many heartbreaking fails. I'm rooting for you, Vincent. Like he was so close, but just had to throw in the towel after a point. But both Luke and Vincent could get the job done here to contend with Sosos here. But if none of them play, Sosos will have that same time with the world record into 2023. We'll see. Again, Sosos up at bat for the Banana Cup now, this time. Sherbet Land, no glitch. This will for sure stand this year as well. Easily. This time is stupid strong. And even still, Sosos could still improve it as well by a good margin. I think he's like, what, 750, so that's what, 400 milliseconds to have second place. This track in particular, I explained how chain wheelies function with so one frame timing for a perfect one to lose as least time as possible. So it's a 1 frame timing and a 60 FPS video game. Very hard to do. This track has like 15 of them, the most out of any track in the game. And a caveat I must say. So the Magi has the off-road bonus, so it makes this track much more graceful as opposed to the Flame Runner or any other vehicle here. But apart from that, it has very good acceleration. So what you're going to see here in Sosos' run is he can do very minor wheelie adjustments like that back and forth. And they're intentional because to try and weave back and forth with these giant, massive alignments, if you don't turn a little bit, you're going to be crashing or losing a lot of time. But with the very high acceleration, you lose close to no time at all. I think actually a tasker can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below, but I think in the task runs, you can actually turn a very small, minute amount where you actually lose no time at all from how small and minute the adjustments are in the wheelie. But the Excel is so strong where just doing tiny little wheelie taps is such very, very minor time loss. So you can manage that pretty well. But Sosos, his time is so strong here. I couldn't believe how far he pushed us past the 204 when he was grinding this a couple of years ago. But this won't be contending this year for sure. Sosos can definitely come back and try to improve it some more, but if not, this will probably stand for multiple years. Absolutely, I definitely believe that for sure. He did a very minor wheelie tap before the finish line, which actually is faster overall, I'm pretty sure, because the finish line on this track is actually at an angle. So finishing a little bit further left, you actually finish your time a lot quicker. As opposed to going all the way out to the right-hand side. So, yeah, we'll see. I think this next year for sure, we won't see anyone else contend it as of yet. But, yeah, that takes care of the no glitch side of things on Sherbet Land. We now have the glitch side of Sherbet Land. Arthur, familiar name. This is a 2-for-3 glitch run. And I believe the major developments on this track was, what, 2019 or 2020? And again, this is like the podcast version of NMeade here, y'all. Hope you guys are enjoying this video so far. Let's see. Sherbet Land. What was this? Magic Cruiser. Let's see. It was in 2019. So May 2019. Major developments here. I think it was mostly by Swear. Shout out to Swear, by the way. Where he found he can actually make that gap they do the glitch with the Magic Cruiser. And originally, you would use a spear because it's so much faster, so you can try and get more distance with far more raw speed. However, the Magic Cruiser saves multiple seconds per lap from how much the off-road bonus saves compared to any other vehicle like the Flame Runner or Mach Bike or Spear, especially the Spear. So check this out. This clip right here is one of the most precise clips in the entire game. So I think it's like sub-pixel precision to do that, I'm pretty sure. Where he used one shroom, he landed far enough where he went past the checkpoints to where the lap would actually count. And Swear also found with that type of a clip too, if you use 2 mushrooms, you can land on the other side. So the biggest limiting factor was actually not going far enough to respawn, where you can only do that strat 1 for 3. Now you do a 2 for 3, and with the magic instead of the spear. So I went from like a mid 140 to a 116 now. So will this be improved in 2022? I don't know. We'll see. Time will tell. Shy Guy Beach, again, Sosis. This is the current longest standing world record in the current world record set list into 2022. A little bit over 1,000 days, if my memory serves me right. And this track will definitely go down in 2022. It would have went down last year. Again, we talked about Casey in this video before. This was one track he could have gotten the world record on. Casey is only 3 milliseconds off. Sosis has a 496 and Casey has a 499. So I think Casey, if he sits down for this track in this coming year, he will definitely improve. I don't think Sosis will ever come back to this track for quite a while. Sosis had such a massive leapfrog improvement when he got this world record at the time. And this track is very hard to do just for hopping on the islands and everything. And the spear with its raw speed, the drift can be challenging on the beach terrain, but also you have to hard commit to all of your alignments. Because contrary to the Magic Cruiser on the last track, minor wheelie taps with the Flame Runner or any other vehicle is very detrimental for losing a lot of time. So this is really a lot about speed preservation here. And if you like drop your drift on those island hops as well, your run is basically dead pretty much. So this is probably one of the hardest spear tracks, in my opinion, to play for an English category. But this will definitely go down during 2022. And I believe it'll be by Casey himself. Dara has tried in the past, another wonderfully talented spear player, had the world record on Peach Gardens for a long period of time. He got a 5.55, like, I think within the past year, but I don't think he's played the game for quite a while now, so I don't think he'll do it either. I think it's going to be up to Casey to take down Sosis here, which I think it will happen in 2022. We'll see. We'll see. This track was also heavily revamped in the past year. 203 525 by Luke. So Luke had a crazy time. I think it was, what, 204 or 208? I'm pretty sure. Like, really crazy time for no shroomless dock, which you'll come to see here. Logan implements the shroomless dock. Very hard to do, but saves a lot of time per lap. And the thing that makes this really nutty with Luke's playing too is Luke uses the Wiimote and Nunchuck. So when you have to flick the Wiimote to get wheelies and tricks. So when you lift up with the Wiimote or side to side to try and get like a certain type of trick, if you go a swipe to right or just left, it's not just all right inputs or all left inputs. There's multiple inputs going on. So basically what's happening is you cannot trick with the shroomless dock because you won't be propelled far enough to traverse the gap. So when Luke is doing a wheelie into the ramp, multiple different inputs like up, right side, up, down are all happening all at once. So it makes it where him accidentally getting a trick instead of just a plain old wheelie like this is a lot higher and a lot harder. But Luke adapted really quickly, came back, and he started optimizing this track himself. He pushed down using a new strategy sprung upon for the track and got the first 203 by a long shot with a 799. And then in December last month, he tried to quote-unquote destroy the track by getting the first 3 for 3, which is really crazy to do. Hasn't been done yet. This is still a 2 for 3. But long-term, Luke wants to get a 202 here, which can totally happen. It's just so crazy where, you know, the past couple years in particular, a lot of like strategies that seem way too impossible or not practical for real-time speedrunning is almost now commonplace at the top tier now. So hats off to all the players that are pushing their bounds and really using these unused or underutilized strategies here. I think this will improve this year by either Luke or if Logan comes back. I don't think anyone else is trying this strat at all. Because the shrimpless dock isn't a guarantee for record. Like, you have to race really, really well, and the chains still matter at this level too. So we'll see, to be determined, as with all these obviously. Now we head into GCN Waluigi Stadium. No glitch. This is by Connor, 148.433. And Connor, I believe he reclaimed this from Ace in the past year. Was it reclaimed, right? I'm pretty sure. I think Connor had it more than once. Let me just check again. Let's see. Waluigi Stadium. Yes. So in 2020, shout out to Ace, he came back and beat Connor. And then in 2021, Connor came back and answered, and he beat Ace back. And this is one of my favorite tracks by far. One of the most tech-heavy tracks in the game. A good amount of people consider this track in this category being the most tech-heavy track in the entire game. This is such a hard track to optimize at high level. So there's still more room to improve. I think super long-term Connor, I think both Connor and Ace believe a 147 can happen here. I think Connor's run right now, right here, is the first world record that features a 35-second one-shrimmer. It's been done in years past. Shout out to French player Todom. He held the world record here for multiple years, way ahead of his time. And only like 4 players have beaten him in like almost 9 years now. So his run was super strong at the time. And he got the first 35-second one-shimmers back in like 2013. So it's not like they haven't been done in years past. They have been, but to have it in the world record run, it's very hard to do. But we'll see. It'll be awesome to see Ace come back to the game again, like more actively instead of like a couple weeks spring here and there, and have him and Connor duke this out again. Because I think more epic battles are to be had here for sure. We'll see. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised though if this still stays at the current time with Connor right now. Also, the unfortunate thing back there, before the last turn, he wasn't at max speed in his wheelie, so he lost probably like almost 0.1 there, literally. Water break, by the way. Cheers, fellas. If you guys are liking this video, by the way, give me one of these and subscribe to the channel. A lot more content on the way, just like this, longer form videos. So if you guys are enjoying this, definitely come along and join the community here. But yes, gotta stay hydrated. Follow the streams, by the way, too. We stay very hydrated on our streams, by the way. So, this track glitch category on Waluigi is by Hunter, and this is one of my favorite developments for a glitch being done for a glitch strategy for RTA runners. Made a full video on the history about this track being glitched in 2020, like being RTA viable, I mean, in 2020. Such a huge effort among different people theorizing stuff and testing stuff out. In general, shouts to all the community at Baseline, obviously, but especially to the members of our task community out there. You guys are the real MVPs. Without having the synergy of the RTA runners and the taskers as well, this game wouldn't have progressed anywhere near to the extent that it has in the past, like almost 14 years now. So they really helped theorize stuff and test ideas all the time. And definitely this really wouldn't have happened without the task community, so shout out to you guys. So this past year, I think Core got his first world record on this track. Hunter came out to the game, got his first world record in general for many years now. Logan pushed us down too, and Logan and Hunter battled back and forth and entered this year. Hunter's on top, and he got the first 139 here twice. So a 0.7, and now this 0.4 right now. And Hunter is actively going for the first 2 for 3 glitch run here. So that's going to be super stupid insane to see. This is such a hard glitch to do. I'm trying to give as much like backstory, analysis, reaction that I can within such a short period of time here. Understand that, please. But I cannot be understated how insane this track in particular is for the glitch here. Like, there's so many moving parts that are happening that if you were to watch the video that I made down below, you can really appreciate the deep, rich history of under everything that went involved, because there are like, I think 3 or 4 different viable options for RTA that were just almost borderline, just not practical to go for. But we eventually found one that stuck finally. So with that being said, we are now entering the Leaf Cup, Desert Hills, 134.3 by Sosis. I think this is also one of his older world records. I think Sosis still has, what, maybe 6 records now, I'm pretty sure. And I think this track will not be improved this year either. I think if it's improved, it's by Paul M. He had the world record here previously, and Sosis beat him back, well, this time here. But this time is absurdly impressive. So that shroom that happened on lap 1, that's called the wheelie cut. So basically, it's pretty much like human RNG, so it's called the lucky cut. Also, there's a lucky cut I'll explain for the glitch and also for the no glitch here. So I don't think testers really understand how this works either. I don't think so, but you can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But if you do the shroom the right way, I guess, you do one giant wheelie, and your wheelie is preserved into the second mound, and you're in a wheelie in the air, soaring through so fast at a lot higher speed as opposed to the wheelie being canceled, slam into the second mound. And you're going to see visually just how much slower it is if you don't get it, and how drastic the lap difference is. Laps 2 and 3 are literally almost 0.4 slower for only 1 lap based on not getting this one strategy here. So check this out. So no wheelie cut, cancels. Look at how much slower that is. He's going at like high 70 km in the air, whereas with the wheelie cut, you're at like mid 90 km through the air. You're soaring through, blazing through the air. So this was such a stupid pace into lap 3 with Sosis on this current run here. It'll be very reasonable for this not to be touched at all for at least 1 or 2 years maybe. We'll see. But I think Paul and also shout out to Gustav as well. I think both of them, if they were to actually play this year, they could both contend him, but this track is stupid hard with where it's at right now. So we'll see what happens here in the future. The glitch side now, 139.90 by Justin, of course. This was a nice surprise this year. So Justin had the world record here in the past a couple of years ago. And he was eventually toppled, I think, in 2018 or 2019, one of those years. And he finally comes back here, and he beats Logan by a small amount because the first 130 here. I'd recommend all of you guys who haven't watched the October, November, and December combined world record review video to watch that link down below, because I kind of detail some potential future developments here on this track, including a backward shortcut, which could yield a much larger time save, but it's very hard to do. It's actually done shroomless. So you do that blade cut 2 for 3. Then you fall from the top of the finish line by the block wall into lap 3, respawn, turn around, drive backwards. At this hill over here, you do an empty wheelie shroomless over the sand, and like your camera angle spins around and you land back on the track by the pokies. And I think you save like over a second, I think. But that is just so hard to do, obviously. But I believe Justin said that you can get like at true like human optimal potential, like a 128, like a high 128. So I think someone will do that this year. I'm gonna say that right now. I'm calling out Logan, Justin, Breakson, and David, all 4 of you guys. I think all 4 of them can definitely be the people tasked for the job. We'll see which one does it first. We'll see. But when someone does that in a world record run, that's gonna be one of the most craziest things to see. It's gonna be such a unique strategy to do in a world record run. So we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, I cannot wait for the future of that track, especially when that backwards cut is implemented into runs here. So that is Desert Hills. We're now segueing into, it's gonna be BC3. Luke is back, of course, on the no shortcut side of things. 216, 366, 366. I've been talking for how long now? An hour and a half? Call me some slack here. So this category is very optimized right now. However, I think this will be improved at least once this year. I'm rooting for Kenny to pull through on this track. I think he very recently got second worldwide, almost out of 0.4. And I'm cheering on Kenny here to get the record here after so long. I think Kenny has been playing this track on this category on and off for, I don't know, 2+ years maybe, I'm pretty sure. And I feel like he's come up short and having so many runs that just couldn't see the end into the finish line lap 3. But now he's having his dividends paid very nicely with all his efforts here, at least being at second worldwide now. But Luke did such an epic job optimizing this time in the past year. Again, Luke is a Wiimote and nunchuck user, so there's so much motion control happening here on the low jumps that it's so hard to do this for Wiimote and nunchuck players that I think I and many players were very surprised that Luke actually devoted time here and actually got the world record here in the first place, because basically you're preferring either right or left side tricks on the bumper tricks, because like the back wheel can land on the following island a lot earlier, and you can propel yourself a lot easier and have the wheelie come out more cleanly. There's different heights of low jumps you can get on the bumpers, and you can actually time the low jump so low they actually clip the following island and you actually fall out of bounds. But if it's too high, you lose too much time. So in ghost comparisons on this track, you really see how pivotal of a difference that it is. If you have 5 perfect lows and 5 horrible lows, I think you can lose over 200 milliseconds on that one string of islands there. Just for one lap is actually pretty absurd. Apart from that, there's so many chain wheelies on this track as well, where it's also pivotal on that fact as well. But yeah, I think this will be improved at least once in the coming year. I think Luke was already pretty content with this time, rightfully so. This is a very epic time for the no shortcut side of things. But I'm ready for Kenny this year. We might see a Kenny and Luke battle here. We'll see what happens in 2022. Anything is possible, obviously. But yeah. We head now into the no shortcut side of things. And this was also another cool story. So Luke had the world record into 2021, I believe, with his 335. And Braxton beats him back this year. So Braxton initially advances the meta, and it's the first person to do the shroomless ultra shortcut lap 1 in this run. And it was known for probably 11-12 years now. I think it was actually Mander in 2010. He uploaded a video on his YouTube channel where he showed that the cut can be done full speed shroomless. And it's been done in real time before in like some fails. Shout out to my man Choi, Dylan. He has some world record fails in the past with using it too, on like some failed runs in lap 3 as an example. But yeah, this has been known for quite a while, but Braxton is now trying to push the meta here. And Luke actually beat Braxton back in 2020 with a 157.335. That was a really, really strong 3-for-3 normal shroom time. But now Braxton answers back after a couple of months, and he gets us back. I believe Braxton said that both him and Logan are already trying to do 2-for-3 shroomless cut runs, which would be insane. If you notice on lap 1 as well, by the way, he uses his mushroom on the dirt, and what that allows him to do is he can actually go under the thwomp a couple of turns from now on lap 2, where you otherwise would go around that swamp and lose some time. So that's a good amount of time saved for doing that on lap 1. Long term though, like 3 for 3 shroomless ultra cuts here could yield a time of like at least like a mid 155, I want to say. I think at optimum, you can actually get like, I don't know, 38.5s across the board, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, overall, this was a great run, but I missed a lot of chain wheelies, and Breakson overall wants to have a much bigger improvement here, of course. So I think this year we'll see big improvements on this track. I think both Breakson and Logan will both pull through and get to, I think they will both get 2 for 3 runs. That's my bold prediction here for 2022. So putting you guys on the spot for sure. So you guys are tasked for the job. You guys will get it done, I'm very sure. Now on to Parkway, 211.117 by Luke. And I think
It was, what, 2020 is when he beat Yasha's time here.
And that was Yasha's legendary Canadian player, by the way. Shout out to Yasha. He took down his last world record that he had in the game. And he introduced the newer strat being this corner cut on this turn leading up right now. And I think ultimately this gains maybe 0.1 a lap, maybe plus or minus like 10 or 20 milliseconds or so. This will go down to a 210 in the coming year. I am rooting both for Luke and also for Australian player Felix to pull through. Felix has been hard at work himself in the past year. He's been the most active contender alongside Luke trying to improve his own time in the past year here. I think both can definitely get 210s on this category for sure. Personally, this is one of my favorite mock bike time trial tracks. Just unfortunate that the shortcut is the way it is. This is traditionally the kryptonite of almost all time trialers here, is how stupidly absurd the shroom is here. That literally, like for me in particular, my 3-lap time this category here was my last 2009 time, and it took me until 2021 to improve it. So that's how off-putting the track is from how dumb the shroom is. This is such a graceful, calm, straightforward Daisy mock bike time trial, and I love it for that. If the shroom was a lot more forgiving, I'm sure myself and a lot more players would actually play it too, to be honest. Need some water break again, by the way. Yeah, it's been an hour and 40 minutes of talking straight, so again, if you guys are enjoying this video, definitely give me one of these and subscribe to the channel. A lot more content is on the way in the works for 2022. Thank you in advance. But yeah, again, shout out to Luke here for still trying to improve his own times. I love when people not only get the world record, but they try to further optimize their times and push the bounds even further, with this track being an example here. So yes, next year, during 2022, I think both Luke and Felix can both get 210s here. We will see what happens, but now we're moving on to the glitch category. So I think the glitch category has potential to have massive improvements in 2022. Right now, so by Invincible, 41072, and the potential for like a 39 or a 38 is quite high. Very difficult, but possible. You can do it with this current strategy, but also shout out to Justin, where he did a task in the recent year, I think, with the Sugar Scoot, an outside drifting bike, and he got like a 25-second time with task or something pretty wicked. This is also one of my favorite glitches in the entire game, by the way, because it stays true almost exactly to how the original game, the shortcut works in that game, where you're basically clipping into the cave in the N64 version as well, and you go back to the finish line. So it's really cool to see those parallels here. But Invincible has been hard at work on and off for quite a while now. Shout out to Invincible. I think if Invincible plays more, or Bryce comes back to the track as well, we can see a sub 40 here with this strategy, but I'm waiting for the day that some mad lad comes along and does the sugar scoot strat for this track. So we'll see what happens here in the coming years. But with that in mind, we're done with Parkway. Moving on now to some good old GCN Mario Circuit. One of my favorites. I'm biased, obviously. I had the world record myself here in years past. Luke, of course, has a record now with a mighty 135.13. And this run is awesome. Luke can still get like a 130.3 with the current strategies used. But I believe this next year is going to be the year of change, just as it was for like Delfino Square as an example. A couple of players, most notably Big Fork and also Logan, have been trying to do the double mound trick strategy here, where at odds I would say is a good like 100, maybe peak 150 a lap, give or take, maybe. Very hard to do, but it saves a lot of time, and that's going to be the way that a 129 happens humanly here. You can definitely hit 29 laps without the mounds, but at sheer human perfection, like 29 950 laps 2 and 3 without the double mounds. But getting that in a run is so impractical that's just not going to happen. I think what's more likely is doing the double mounds in all 3 laps, and that will yield enough to get the first 129 here. I don't think a 129 is due yet in 2022, but I do think that a permanent meta shift will happen in this coming year. Luke can certainly adapt, but I think both Logan and also Big Bork can really push the bounds here in 2022. So I think we might see some new contenders here to the world record title in the coming year if they try to pursue further, especially with the double mount tricks. I mean, I myself, look at me, 9th worldwide. I'm almost off. Come on. My run should have been a 130.8 with a double trick lap 3. Regardless, you know, it is what it is. But I'll improve. Maybe I'll contend. We'll see. We'll see. Anything is possible. Now in the final cup of the video, we have the Lightning Cup 117.889 by Luke. And I really thought that in the past year, this was going to finally go down with Luke's reign. Shout out to Vincent. Like, Vincent was so disgustingly close to beating Luke's time a couple of times in 2021. And I think he's still within like 20 milliseconds or so. And for the longest time, I felt like, you know, this would never go into like non-Wiimote nunchuck hands because of this strategy kind of right here, where on this curve, you do such a shallow saucer for 3 MPs instead of 2. And doing that is so much easier on the Wiimote and nunchuck compared to the classic or the GameCube controller. But Vincent grinded this into the wall and did it like perfectly. I think he actually holds almost all the best known splits now on this track, to show how much he really grinded this track. This is already so close to the best known splits, but also Casey too got pretty close in the past year, like a 940, like a 950, I think. And Casey uses Wiimote and nunchuck, so he could definitely contend for sure with that. Doing the strategy as most optimal driving, of course. But if those players don't play, or anyone else in the top 10, I think definitely, you know, if Emil, Casey, and Vincent were to extend themselves on this track, they could beat Luke here. But apart from that, I just don't see it happening. If those players don't play, I don't see why Luke would ever try to improve this for quite a while. So we'll see what happens in the coming year. Again, hydration break. Peach Gardens, King Alex, 158.986. This did not go down in 2020, 2021, I mean, but I think this will go down in 2022. I didn't think this would go down for multiple years, unless Brett were to play again or Alex were to play again. Even then, this is so close to optimization due to the pace lock of the chain chomp, which you'll see on lap 3, where they get stupidly close lap 3. But my man Carter has been hard at work. Shout out to Carter, by the way. He is like a automatic drift god extraordinaire of the game. A lot of custom tracks, the records are actually spear automatic. And he's scooped up so many automatic best known times on so many tracks now. And he's currently at a mid 159.0 here. And what you're going to notice here is out of the hedge maze, this is called an automatic hop, where normally you can't get a hop at all because with automatic drift, you guys have never seen this before. Normally with manual drift, you click hop and you hop and you charge an MT. But automatic drift, there's no MTs at all. But the perk is that you can actually do wheelie taps with no time loss at all. But you can't yank hard left and right, or else it'll cancel your wheelie. But that's a trade-off where you can be in a longer wheelie for a longer period of time and not losing any time, where this giant wheelie here in the hedge maze saves so much time over manual drift. So this chain chomp, look at how close Alex gets to the chain chomp on lap 3. And then a really nice automatic hop as well. So I think it's actually like a one frame perfect right left input where you actually kind of like hobble over the leaf bed over there and you cut the corner off and you save some more time. But there are other types of nuances here, like the little stair bounce where you get to automatic 98 km/h upon landing in front of the finish line. A lot of other nuances here for automatic drift for sure. This is already near the maximum for automatic drift, but I think Carter will pull through for his first world record here in the coming year. I thought this wouldn't go down for multiple years to come unless it was Alex or Brett. But Carter has proven himself worthy, absolutely, so we'll see what 2022 has in store here for Peach Gardens. So now, we have GCN DK Mountain, where there were surprises all around for both categories here. Of course, by Logan on both. So, Logan's intro to the world record scene was on this track on the glitch category. We'll cover that in the next run, obviously. But then his first no glitch world record was also on this track. And both times were very strong, and I thought both of them were going to be uncontested for quite a while. But I think it was like, what, 2019 is when this super fast main turbo shortcut was done in one run for Logan. Does it happen in this lap? No, it doesn't. So I think it's on laps 2 and 3, where basically instead of canceling your MT and hopping off the ledge, you actually release your MT and you go super, super fast. And you barely clip the edge of like the little indent where the cliff is, and you get shot straight down, giant drift around, and it stays literally like over like what, 0.3 a lap at optimum, I'm pretty sure. And so I thought that pretty much killed the category where you would have to go for that for at least one lap in a run. Well, Logan does the surprise improvement on this category with using the normal cut all 3 laps. That's the strategy, by the way. That looks really insane, and it's much harder than it looks. So with all that in mind, like, it was super insane that he actually beat the time with 3v3 normal cuts. And you can actually get a 204 with 3v3 normal cuts, but it's very hard, obviously. But Logan leapfrogs to this giant 204.775 with a really solid run, honestly. All around through and through, and his words too as well last month. So as far as this being improved in the coming year, I mean, I was proven happily wrong in this past year, so we'll see. I really thought that maybe Zelda Cubed, shout out to Z Cubed by the way, was actually going to try to contend Logan here on this category. He got actually really close. As well as Japanese player, I think you pronounce his name as Amphis, I'm pretty sure. Both of them got very close. I believe Amphis actually did the MT cut in one lap of his run. It's his 205.3 here. So we'll see. I wouldn't be surprised at all if this stands for quite a while. But again, I wouldn't be surprised at all either if Logan were to take it upon himself just to grind it down even more. So we'll see. We'll see. Logan again on the glitch category this time. I was very, very surprised about this one too. What was a huge, I guess, time period where the potential for a track to be improved by a large margin occurred is by this strategy here after the cannon, where they do, I guess it's called like a wheelie cancel, where they cancel the wheelie right before landing right over here. A new wheelie starts, and you don't have to rechain a wheelie at all. What that does is two things. So you don't have to do another additional chain wheelie, so that eliminates 3 chain wheelies in the whole run. And in addition to that, the wheelie cancels perfectly where when you're mid-air, you land on your back wheel in a little in that little pocket, and you can soft drift really quickly and get the MT release into a wheelie right into the line for the glitch here. If you look back at, like, you know, the 201s 2-minute times of the world record history here in the past, compared to what they do now, their approach to the glitch lost so much time. But Logan innovated this MT charging, you know, a long time ago. But now doing the whole wheelie cancel thing too, where you eliminate 3 for 3 chain wheelies now. It makes it where the runs are a bit more consistent, I believe Logan has said in the past. But the real big kryptonite, apart from really optimizing so getting the glitch here is not the hard part. The hard part is recovering afterwards and not going to the wall, hopping off the ledge entirely, but getting an optimal drift down and a tight recovery. But apart from that is the bridge, where unfortunately, for unknown reasons, it's so bumpy into the finish line, but if you actually race it backwards, there's no bounces at all. I really wish they put that the other way. I don't know why they did that for. Who knows? Who knows? But getting a straight shot and a chain wheelie into the alignment for the first turn here, every single lap, is very hard to do. You can lose a truckload of time or save a lot of time. It's a double-edged sword pretty much. But we'll see here. Again, I'm not ruling out anything for the coming year on both categories of this track. We'll see what happens. But guys, with all that in mind, we reach now the final track for the video, being one of my favorites, N64 Bowser Castle. No glitch category, by Luke, of course. 230-637. This run, insane. Insane. In particular, his lap 3. His lap 3 is insane, and this run is so strong, but it further opens like the conversation of how much more potential Luke has to improve this track. I myself, I've had the world record here a couple times in the past, and I can speak from my expertise that Luke's driving is like otherworldly here. His ability to charge the MTs and cornering and everything is just stupid, for lack of a better term. Like, it's actually insane. He's been so far ahead of the pack for so long that there's still no second 230 here. Casey almost got the second 230 here. Shout out to Casey again, by the way. Vincent, myself, Emil, Snifus as well, we all improved in the past year. I actually got back the second worldwide myself in the beginning of this year, really randomly. But yeah, we're still multiple moons away from where Luke is, and what's scary is that from how dumb strong his times have been, he can still improve so much more with his time right now, with the current strats that are used. So, Luke is calling me crazy sometimes, I think, but I think Luke could totally get a 0.4 here, and maybe like a very high 0.3 out, like super crazy optimum for Luke's driving here. Practically, I think a high 0.4, that'll be a happy medium, I think. But yeah, like, I think RBC will, I think Cole will have his longest world record reign defeated in 2022. And I think the world record reign on this track will become the newest one long-term, like 8-10 years in the future. I think the rest of the pack with me and other players here with our driving here, I think it's still a couple degrees below where Luke is right now on this track. He's just in some different dimension here. because no one has gotten another 230 yet at this point, and he's almost at 0.5 with mistakes for Luke's driving too. But this lap 3 was absolutely bonkers insane. It's a 0.71, I believe, and he could still improve it like a tiny bit more. But yeah, if there's no new strats discovered or implemented, I think Luke's reign will go undefeated for multiple years to come. Will he actually come back to improve it one more time this year? It's possible. He really comes back to different tracks here and there, and he just improves. Like, all right, new improvement. Here we go. Moving on. So we'll see what happens here. It'll be awesome to see him play this again, though, because I think he can totally roll up with a 0.4 at some point, for sure. So there's me. Fourth worldwide, by the way. Okay. I pay my dues here and there. Okay. But yeah, we'll see what happens here in the coming year with that in mind. Jokes aside, the last track and category newly is this track glitched. The developments of glitching this track, let alone humanly, insane. But none other than Logan, obviously. No one else has hit this glitch yet, and I don't know when. This is insane every time I watch it. There's so many moving parts to get this done that it will take too long to explain in like 2 minutes. Long story short, you fall off the blocks with a wheelie, and you're basically changing your properties on the ground to where when you shroom, you're being ejected from the ground, and you can maintain your wheelie into the pole and get the giant pole bounce and fly so far to behind the track where you hit the proper checkpoint to where it'll count your lap to glitch the track. A very underrated part as well, I must say, is apart from hitting these groundbreaking glitches on this track, Koopa Cape, Rainbow Road as well, it's actually the post-glitch driving. And this track in particular, the spear is very clunky, it's not designed, it's not glamorous, it's not great for this track. And Logan holds it down honestly very well for what this is. So I feel like someone else can hit the glitch maybe a little bit faster, but maybe their nerves will break down with the actual normal driving where, honestly, it looks simple watching it, but you could very easily like try and overcompensate, turn a little bit too sharp for the spear's kind of lackluster wide driving where you turn a little bit too sharp to compensate and you bonk right into a wall, and you get, instead of like a 219, you get like a 224 or something like that. So I would think Logan would think the Koopa Cape glitch is the hardest one in the game, but he actually regards this one as the hardest glitch in the game. Logan became the first RT runner to hit all the RT viable glitches the past year actually. And he regards this one as the absolute hardest to do. So with that in mind, I don't see why he would subject himself to improving it again, especially when no one is actively trying to contest him here. So we will see. But guys, that concludes this awesome session again for the third year in a row, analyzing and reacting to all the current world records in Mario Kart Wii. I hope all of you guys enjoyed this video. I've enjoyed doing this in the past couple of years, and we recently upgraded a lot of different things with our setup, including the DSLR camera here as well, the lighting, as well as the video quality as well for recording times that aren't on console. So with all that in mind, a lot of exciting stuff is on the way in 2022. In particular, if you guys made it to this point in the video for almost 2 hours now, you guys deserve some insider info. Okay, if you guys enjoy this type of like reacting type of series like this, I'm actually going to be retroactively doing this series starting with 2008. I've had these recordings already done a couple months ago. However, my old PC couldn't handle editing them because my PC was actively dying pretty much. My new PC handles things much better, so I can actually make that and react to it. So I'm hoping within the next month, like mid-late February, I'll release that. And I'm going to start with 2008. Now, if you thought this was bonkers here, especially casuals who watch this for the very first time, even for our most seasoned players here, who maybe didn't play back in the day, It's gonna be so comical, yet like just very like nostalgic and just awe-inspiring to see where all the world records started in 2008. What was known at the time with the optimized driving tech to where things are now. And we're going to year by year 2008 world records, 2009, 2010, and onward as well. The monthly world record review series continues, along with a lot more in the future as well. So, guys, I appreciate you very much. Thank you for your support, really, for so many years now. I think this year for 2022 is going to be a big year for us on the channel. We're putting forth a lot of effort here. We got the new PC now, so a lot of things can be done more streamlined now, a lot more consistent uploads. So, again, if you guys enjoy this took a lot of time to record, render, compile, react to everything else. So if you guys want to see a lot more like this, definitely give me one of these and subscribe to the channel. Definitely follow the stream as well. I normally stream around 2 times a week. Have a lot of fun over there as well. But guys, be good to yourselves. Be well in 2022. Hydrate, happy and healthy to all the fellas out there. All right. Well, with that being said, thank you all so much. Take care of yourselves. Have a great day. Thank you for watching, and peace.